This video is going to be about why you don't take women back after either you cut her off for a serious reason, after she cut you off because she didn't see your worth, and then months later she's trying to come back, right? Whatever the case is, this video is going to be about what you should do and why you shouldn't take a woman back, right? This video is going to be for the men who don't have self-respect, right? Because when you develop the self-respect, guess what? You're not going to tolerate shit and you don't need anyone to tell you, right? Because when you respect yourself, that means you have a standard for yourself that if anyone goes underneath that, right? Like if, for example, someone pushes me, that's hands, right? That's hands immediately. That's the standard. Why? Because I have self respect. I'm not going to walk around and people just push me all over the place, right? That's called having self respect. And you guys have to learn how to develop self respect, not only out there in the world, but in the dating, right? In dating, when you're talking to women, you have to have self-respect, right? Personally, I have self-respect when I deal with women. I'm not going to tolerate disrespect. You're not going to show up late whenever you want. You're not going to, if let's just say I live with a woman, she's not going to come home at 12. She's not going to just do whatever she wants, and if I tell her, "Hey, listen, I personally don't want a woman who goes out clubbing," right? That's just not what I'm looking for in a woman. I'm not tolerating with a woman going out to the clubs and then I'm sitting here and I'm going to start negotiating because, oh, but I feel like this and I feel like that. No, it's called self respect. There is a standard, there is a line that is not crossed. And if it's crossed, there's consequences and there is no negotiating and there is no going back, right? What was my example? If someone pushes me, right? I'm just walking down the street and some random guy pushes me. If I don't do something about that, then it will continue to happen, first of all. Second of all, I won't get respect. And third of all, I'm not holding the standard, which is, listen, this is the standard, right? And more importantly, if you say you're going to do something, you do it. So if someone, let's just keep that example really quick, right? Oh, if you push me, it's hands on site. And then they do it, and then I do nothing about it. I didn't enforce the consequence that was supposed to happen. So now I have even less respect, right? So it's the same thing with women. If you tell a woman, listen, if this happens, these are my boundaries. If they're crossed, we're done. We're not going to talk again. And that's it. That's final. When a woman tests you on small things and she sees that you backtrack, that you backpedal, that you're not a man of your word, she knows you're too weak and too emotional. And if she tells you, if she does something, she knows that your feelings will get in the way and you'll have a moment of weakness and you'll say, you know what? It's okay. Fuck my standards. Fuck my boundaries. It's all good. We can just negotiate this and we'll be all good once again, right? She will lose all respect for you, okay? So if why shouldn't you take a woman back, right? Let's just say you found your woman texting somebody else, right? You guys are in a relationship. She's not supposed to be texting other guys, and you guys are in a relationship and you caught her texting other guys. Immediately. There is no discussing that. There is no discussing that. That is cut off immediately, okay? There doesn't have to be no explanation. There doesn't have to be nothing. We're not sitting here, and I'm not sitting here and listening to your logic because the standard and the boundary was that this line is not to be crossed. So the moment that it's crossed, that's it. There's no going back. I told you I was going to do something, so I'm going to hold my word when it happens, and I will make sure that you know I'm serious about it, right? Because what happens? Women will try to come back, and this is the whole reason about this video, right? You shouldn't take your ex back because when they try to come back on something that was a non-negotiable, she can't. She has to be taught a lesson, even if it's for the next man, even if it's for her to become a better woman for the next man. But it's like you're not doing this with me anymore. This is the lesson, right? You're not going to get a relationship out of me anymore. If you want to come over here and you want to get it in, yeah, I mean, we can do that, right? Most guys can't handle that, right? Most guys will do that and then they'll get attached again, right? But if you're the type of guy who can keep his emotions in check and, yeah, I mean, right? Then no problem. Come on over here. But that's it. There is no type of relationship going on here. Let's just say you caught your woman doing something sneaky or she lied to you, right? These are reasons as to why you shouldn't take her back, right? Because there's minor arguments, there's minor things in relationships that every relationship has, and every relationship is going to have a point where you guys might not agree on something, right? And emotions might rise up and you guys might break up, right? But what happens? You guys make up. Makeup sex is great, right? That's a bonus to it. But you guys make up because it's not something that's that serious. Or maybe she did something that was a minor disrespect, right? And she didn't know. Like she did something that she's used to doing with other guys and she did it to you. It wasn't anything involving other guys. It wasn't anything making you look like a bitch, but it was just something that you didn't really like. So you had to put her on ice. You had to let her know. You had to give her a real consequence so that she gets a taste of what it's like if she were to try and do something more disrespectful, like cheating on you or doing this or doing that, right? Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to walk away from a chick and just put her on ice, right? But in that situation, she has to come back to you. You cannot go back to her and be like, hey, baby, is everything good? No, she has to come back to you and she has to ask you, what can I do to make it up to you, right? She has to be the one to initiate. Because as a man, when you cut off a woman and you go crawling back to her, right? You cut her off, you said things were over, it's done, and then months go by, or maybe not even months, maybe even weeks, maybe even days, and you start getting in your feelings. Listen, let me preface this, right? Because I understand. I've been through breakups myself. And I understand 100% how it feels. I understand that if you've been with a woman for 3 years, you're not going to get over her in a week. You're not going to get over her in 2 weeks. It's going to take time. But when a woman crosses a line, you have to have self-respect so that when that line is crossed, it doesn't matter if it's been 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, 4 months. When you have that moment of weakness, you overcome it. And that's how you strengthen yourself as a man. But when you have a moment of weakness as a man, you're sitting there alone, you're playing with yourself, you're realizing that you are a loser, you're realizing you have no confidence, you're realizing, I don't think I can get other women. So what do? You get on your phone and you text her back and you say, hey, let's work this out, right? The problem with that is that you have now, not only did you go back on your word, which was, listen, if this happens, I'm cutting you off, we're done, right? Not only that, but now you've gone back to her and you've shown her you have no internal strength. You can speak a big game, you can act like you're this strong man, strong mental man, right? But when things get tough, when you have that moment of weakness, you can't overcome it. You can't push yourself through that moment of weakness, right? So when you have self-respect in a moment of weakness like that, you remind yourself, self-respect comes first. And that is what is going to make you a better man. Not only that, but it's going to better your relationships in the future. When you get out of a relationship where you weren't respected and you put self-respect over everything, right? Because you can lose somebody else's respect, but the last thing that you want to lose is your own respect. You don't want to lose your own respect. The moment you've lost your own respect, you've lost it all, right? You have to start working to gain it back. You have to start working to gain it back. Because having self-respect, having self-love is like a cup, right? I can't pour into your cup if I have nothing in mine. So if you have no love for yourself, how are you going to pour that into another person? If you have no self-respect, how are you going to pour that, right? You don't have any self-respect, so you can't demand respect. You can't demand it. You can't say, listen, I need respect, because you don't even respect yourself, right? So if you're a man, you get out of a relationship, guess what? Work on yourself in those moments of weakness where you miss her. You're going to miss her. You might miss her even if She did something that crossed your rules, right? You might still miss her, right? Because not because of what she did was particularly something that you're okay with, but the fact that you guys were together for so long, the memories will come up, right? And this is for someone who just probably first breakup or something like that, right? Because eventually you kind of get used to the game and you understand how the game goes. But first breakup, right? You're sitting there, you're missing her, you're thinking about her, you're thinking about all the times that you guys spent together, and you're like, oh shit, no, I shouldn't text her. No, but I said I wasn't. Oh no, but I cut her off. And then your mind starts self-deluding yourself. You start telling yourself things that you want to hear. You start seeing things how you want to see them, even though it's not reality. You'll start convincing yourself of things. You'll start telling yourself, ah, but that is called a moment of weakness. That is the reason why people never succeed at anything, right? If you want to lose weight and you're fat and you're overweight, right? And you say, I'm gonna do this, right? I'm holding my word. I'm gonna stick to this. And then the time comes around, and what happens in that moment of weakness? You say, it's only one snack. It's just one. It's just one. I won't eat too many. You start eating a little bit, a little. Eventually, the next day and the next day, and you lose it all, right? You never succeed. Why? Because you need to start learning how to overcome those moments of weakness, how to overcome those moments where temptation is knocking at your door, right? If temptation's knocking at your door and you want to eat those snacks, what do you have to tell yourself to strengthen your mind? You have to go through the hard shit. The only way out is through. You can't get stronger if you don't go through the hard shit, right? If you just think that, oh, listen, I'm just not going to handle it, I'm going to take the easy way out and I'm going to give in to temptation, you're never going to get stronger. You're never going to become a better man, okay? Because if you want to lose body fat, right, just like I said, and every time that you have that temptation, you give in, you're never going to become better as a man. You become better by, in those moments when you want to eat the snacks and you're having a moment of weakness, which deep down, it's not even you. That's not even you. Trust me. When you get past that and you have true clarity, where you have true control over your mind and true clarity, what happens? You realize that's not even you. Those are like voices in your head. You're the lowest version of yourself trying to pull you down, trying to drag you down to where you really shouldn't be. You should really be up here. But those voices, that lower version of yourself is just pulling at you, trying to bring you to the lowest version that you can possibly be. And you have to kick that motherfucker. You have to push that motherfucker. You have to punch him. You have to kill your weakest self. You have to learn how to kill that motherfucker, right? Your weakest version of you, you have to learn how to kill him and never let him back out, right? Lock him up. Throw away the keys. Every time he tries to come back, nope. That's not how this goes around here, right? I'm a strong man. That's how you have to talk to yourself. So when you're sitting there and you miss her and you're like, oh shit, but I kind of miss her, remind yourself, bro. Be a man. Drop your nuts. Tell yourself, you know what? No, she disrespecting me. And I'm going to stand on business. And guess what? Women respect that shit. Believe it or not. Even if she lost respect for you, she'll gain some respect for you when you show some balls. That'll be the last act of showing some balls. Is you walking away and standing on business, doing what you said you were going to do, sticking to what you did, and saying, you know what? I'm sticking to self-respect. I'm going to better myself, and I'll find a better quality of women, and that's how women will actually respect you, right? But the problem is guys don't want to go through that phase where they truly become comfortable with themselves. You have to be comfortable with yourself, meaning the moment that you can become comfortable with yourself to where you don't need anyone else, you don't need a woman, you don't need friends, you don't need anybody. You're good on your own, right? You entertain yourself, you love yourself, you respect yourself. The next relationship you go into, it's going to be the best relationship ever, right? Because when you don't have any of those things, what do? You're insecure, you're needy, you're too attached, you don't demand respect, right? You don't have any of these things. So the relationship is shit. It's just going to be an unhealthy attachment, even though in your mind you're self deluding yourself, telling yourself it's love. But the truth is, you haven't experienced enough to understand it's just an unhealthy attachment. If I put you with a fucking turtle for 4 years, even if you thought that turtle was the most annoying turtle at first, after 4 years, you're gonna say, damn, I kind of like this turtle, right? You start to grow an attachment to it. Why? Because we are creatures of habit. We do what we do, and after we've done something for a period of time, it feels weird doing it without it. It feels weird, right? But that's why you have to master the art of detachment. That's why you have to master the art of not letting anything own you, right? You can change things up. You understand that your life, there is no limit to it. When you start attaching yourself to things, you're starting to place limits on yourself because you're telling yourself you need something. You're telling yourself, I need this drug. You're telling yourself, I need this woman, right? And when life goes on without that person, you start to feel as if your life isn't complete because you were so attached to that person. You felt like that was such a big part of your life that how could you continue moving forward without that person? As opposed to understanding that you don't have to attach yourself to anything in this world, right? And life can change. A woman can leave you. You can miss her. But you can continue moving forward with your life, creating your own life. Creating your own life to where moving forward, you're not going to be so attached to women. You're not going to be so clingy. You're not going to be so insecure about things. Because when you go into a relationship with self-respect and you're not super attached, you're not super clingy, guess what? When you go into a relationship, you want to know why it's going to be so much better? Because when you go into that relationship, that woman is going to have to get your attention, right? Because you don't need anybody, right? You all you need is yourself. So you're there and you're almost like, okay, right? Let's just say you went into your job. You went into your job, but you had $1 billion in the bank. Would you feel like they're so much in control over you? Would you feel so attached to that job? Not really, right? Because you know, I don't need this job. That's the problem with a lot of guys. They feel like they need the woman that they're with because they haven't built any self-respect. They haven't built any self-love. They haven't learned how to live on their own. So they feel like they need her. As opposed to the man who has built those things, goes into a relationship, but he is respected. He is admired by women because women love that. Women love a man that doesn't need them. Women might grow attached to you if she's around you long enough, but she wouldn't love you the same way she loves a man who doesn't need her, right? When a man needs her, she sees him almost like he's weak, right? And they might say something else because women say whatever. Once you learn the truth about women is that they really just say whatever, but you got to pay attention to their actions, right? So when you are the type of man who oh, I almost broke this. When you are the type of man who puts self-respect above anything, don't take women back, okay? And I know a lot of guys, this is going to go in through one ear and out the other. But the guys who do have self-respect, the guys who do value themselves, the guys who do want to get better, take this advice. Listen to this and apply it to your life. You might be going through a moment right now where you're sitting there and you're thinking about texting her back. You miss her. You're about to have that moment of weakness. And then you watch my video and you say, damn, that's true. Now I see it clearly, right? So I'm going to continue pushing forward. How do you get better at the gym? How do you get better at lifting weights? Become stronger. You don't do it by lifting smaller loads. You do it by pushing heavier weight. It might fall on you a couple times. You might feel weak one day. But what do? You show up the next day and you keep trying and you keep trying. Eventually, that weight is going to be nothing to you. So when you're sitting there and you're having a moment of weakness and you feel like you can't get through it, you feel like you have to text her back, what do? You talk to yourself. You develop your self talk. You develop how you talk to yourself and how you talk yourself through things. So that when you're in that moment, you say, nah, bro, nah, I'm not going back. She did me dirty. She cheated on me, right? She did this, she did that, and it crossed the boundary. And I'm not tolerating that. I am not the type of man who tolerates things, okay? I'm a better quality of man, right? You have to decide. Are you going to be the man who doesn't tolerate shit and is a high quality man? Or are you going to be the type of man who will sit there and tolerate shit and negotiate shit, right? If you went into a job and they told you, listen, here is our code of conduct. This is how we dress at this job. This is how we conduct business. You can't smoke weed here. And then you show up and you start smoking weed. You start dressing however you want. And they start telling you, oh, well, it's okay. And they start negotiating with you. You wouldn't respect that job for fuck all. You wouldn't respect them at all, right? So how do you expect a woman to respect you when you came into a relationship with a standard, when you came into a relationship saying, this is the standard, I wouldn't tolerate this. But then eventually you fall in love. Why do they call it fall in love? Because you've fallen. You have fallen. You're not thinking clearly. You're thinking with your emotions, right? So how is a woman going to respect you? If you get into a relationship, she starts doing shit that you don't like, and eventually you start negotiating. Well, it's okay because of this. Well, I kind of see how, well, right? Giving yourself excuses, self-deluding. Eventually, she's not going to respect you because she sees you're not a firm, sturdy man, and she can't trust your leadership. A woman, when you are the type of man who can stand your ground, you say what you mean and you mean what you say, and she sees that, she's going to respect you. She has no choice but to respect you. And she can trust in your leadership. She can trust that she can follow you. She can trust that if you say you're going to do something in life, you say you're going to quit the drugs, you say you're going to get in shape, you say you're going to achieve this lifestyle, you say you're going to start that business, she believes in you. She actually trusts you. She actually respects you because she knows that even in moments where most men would crumble, you know how to talk yourself through it. She knows there's just almost some magic to it. She can't put her finger on it, but she knows there's something to you that's different. Most men, they would crumble. They don't know how to talk themselves through things, right? But you, as a man, I don't know what it is, but he's just my rock. He's just sturdy. I can count on him. You want to become that man, not only for your woman, but for business, for life. Become the type of man who says he's going to do something and he does it, no matter what. Even in moments when your feelings get in the way. Learn how to move your fucking feelings to the side. Your feelings aren't real. Okay, bro? Your feelings are not real. Logic is real. What you can see is real. Your feelings come and go. And your feelings will deceive you. Your emotions will deceive you. Not only will your emotions deceive you, but people can use your emotions against you to deceive you as well and to manipulate you. But that's the video for today, guys. Times when you shouldn't take a woman back. She lies to you about where she's at and you catch her. She lies to you about who she's with and you catch her, right? Let's just say she's going to hang out with Sandra and Susie, right? And she's really hanging out with Michael and Bob, right? Nope. Instantly cut off. This is needless to say, right? I don't think I need to say this one, but you catch her with a cock in her mouth or you catch her sending news to some guy, unless you're the type of guy who likes your chick getting piped out by other men, you already know what to do, right? You already know what to do. So understand, these are the things that you should cut a woman off for. You catch her doing some sneaky shit, you cut her off. That's it. This woman is not to be trusted. Doesn't matter what she says out of her mouth. A woman will always say things out of her mouth once she is caught in order to get you back. Why? Because she benefits from the relationship. She benefits from your time, from the attention that you give her, from the validation, how you make her feel pretty, from the gifts, from how, oh, he takes me out on dates. A woman benefits from this. Why would she tell you? Right? If I'm giving you a bad deal, you're giving me $500 a month, and I know I'm giving you a shitty fucking deal, right? But even though I'm giving you a shitty deal, you have no respect for yourself. So I say, you know what? Why would I tell him anything differently, right? I'm going to continue telling this guy, right? You're paying me $500 for some fucking rocks that I know are worth $1, but I'm going to keep saying, well, because it benefits the person, right? It benefits the woman. So, of course, she's going to tell you what you want to hear. So be a man, handle your business, say what you mean what you say, and you will become a better man. And women will respect you. All right, guys, you got this. I promise you, okay? For the guys who are sitting there in their pillow right now, crying on their belly with their feet up, kicking their feet in the air, crying about a woman. Oh, I miss her. I miss her. I promise you, brother, you gonna get through this, all right? Just man up. Grow some balls. Drop your nuts. Be a fucking man and keep it pushing. That's the video for today.